Okay, we are here with the uber-talented Michael Malarkey, who took Vampire Diaries by storm this past season. His character is, I don't know how you describe him. Feel sorry for him in the beginning, then he comes back and he's got this, I don't even want to say douchey, but I'm going to,
Douchey.
But it works with the character. How are you enjoying playing the character as he is now, with his little snarky little looks and all that other stuff? And is that something you brought into it on your own?
Well, I love it. I mean, it's an absolute joy to play a character who's got a bit of bite to him and kind of recklessness.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, well, I didn't even realize it was a pun. Yeah, wicked.
Every pun, you got to give me $1.
Yeah, no, it's a joy. I mean, even from the beginning, you know, it was a joy to play. I mean, the fact that he is a vampire was something that was kind of on my bucket list, you know, to play a vampire. Ever since I saw Interview with a Vampire back when I was a kid, I was like, I want to do that, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a joy, and I'd like to think that some of what I brought to the table was influential in some of the writing. You never really know, but I think because the way they write is they write as they go along. They kind of see what you're bringing to the table, especially the guest artists. You know, they kind of wait to see what they're bringing, to see whether or not they want to kill him or not.
Yeah.
So luckily they didn't kill me. Well, they did, but you know, then I kind of stuck around as a poltergeist. But no, it's a joy. It's so fun to play. It's a great team.
Speaking of going back, why don't we go back to when you first started your desire to be an actor, and talk about, you know, the roles that you did right in your early career.
Yeah, well, I didn't always want to be an actor. You know, I know a lot of people did, but for me, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I didn't like school at all. I hated high school. I didn't know what was going on. I barely graduated. I was more interested in kind of music and socializing and all that jazz, you know. As I think a lot of people probably are. I think, you know, there needs to be probably a bit more relevance in the school systems. But I graduated and started playing in bands and rocking out, kind of punk and hardcore bands. I had like hair down to here and a goatee and was doing screaming. I was the singer, screamer. And in a roundabout way, I kind of got in a play, and it was a commedia dell'arte play, which is the Italian comedy. So mask work, real kind of expansive physical gestures and stuff like that, and just fell in love with the madness. And the people I met in that play are friends of mine to this day. You know, I saw one of them in LA when I was there last, and we still, you know, keep in contact. And just fell in love with it. And I auditioned for drama schools in London. I grew up in Ohio, as some people don't realize, and got a one-way ticket to London after I got accepted to Lambda, and went there. I mean, my first stuff was all theater. You know, I kind of started off on the London stage, doing shows at the National and the West End. And then I kind of told my agents I wanted to really focus on screen work. And so after a few months of waiting to get that job, this was that job really that kind of kicked it all off. So, yeah.
And what do you attribute your popularity to, other than your own ability?
Am I popular?
Are you crazy?
I don't know.
You are like insanely popular.
Oh well, thank you.
It's not just me. Yeah, it's everybody.
Yeah. Well, no, I have seen, because you know I started a Twitter page once I started the show. Well, my managers and the people on the show were like, "You're crazy not to start a Twitter page because it's good for you, it's good for your career, it's good for the fans," and so I did. And then obviously there was a steep rise in followers and interest, so that was amazing. And I had no idea how crazy and wonderful this fandom is, you know.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the fact that, you know, my character is a bit of a bad boy, I guess. You know, he's kind of, I think he's bringing something to the table that kind of Damon brought in season 1. You know, this kind of edgy recklessness, which I think people are responding to. Also, he's British. People can kind of...
Everybody thinks British, yeah.
So, yeah.
It doesn't hurt that you look like Joe Manganiello either. Vampire Diaries show, right?
Well, I guess, yeah.
No, you are very popular with the viewers, and you know, your character especially is one that viewers really want to see continue. So I'm not sure if you know, you will be continuing in a full-time capacity, or, you know, if you're going to be recurring again.
Yeah, well, it's been released. I think Julie's already said that I will be on the show
Good.
full time. You know, coming into season 6. So,
That's perfect.
yeah,
That will
yeah.
make a lot of people very happy.
Yeah, yeah. Me too.
Including yourself, yeah. Do you go back and forth when you're filming, or are you based in Atlanta when you...
Well, when I was last season, I was kind of going back and forth, but you know, my home is London, and that's kind of difficult. You know.
Yeah. That's not a commute. That's vacation, or you know, not something you go for
No,
a couple
I can't
days.
just skip back for lunch. You know, it's a bit of a long trip, and the jet lag as well kind of messes with you. If you got to come back and shoot the following Monday, it's like
Right.
your head's in two places, all that jazz. But you know, now I'll be there a bit more full on, so I won't have to kind of worry about doing that. You know.
Have you noticed a difference in the fandom when you were doing your theater in London? And
I didn't have a fandom.
you didn't have a fandom
theater,
then?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not, you know, there are theater stars in London, but they're oftentimes the old boys, you know, that have been on the circuit for ages. There's some new up and comers that are popular, but you know, people don't go around, you know, following on Twitter. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't have Twitter then, so I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely a whole different kind of realm, you know.
Now you're on the eastern side of the United States per se. Would you be interested in trying your luck up in New York on a Broadway stage?
Shit, yeah. I mean, if they'd have me, man. I mean, I love the theater. It's something that, you know, has my heart. But I kind of did quite a lot of it and got to the phase where I was like, you know what? Now is the time when I need to be embracing doing screen stuff. And I can always go back to theater, and I do love it. And I'd love to be in New York. I mean, that'd be a trip, man. You know?
Yeah. My follow-up question always to that is there a difference between the immediacy you get from the audience, but you're on a show that you're getting immediacy no matter what, because you're getting tweeted, you're getting, so what's that kind of been like for you to not necessarily, do people stage door in London?
Yeah, people will turn up. I mean, I did one big kind of rock and roll musical where I played Elvis in London, which was, we had a lot of stage door action.
Right.
And I like that. You know, but this is a whole different thing, you know. So.
Did you ever see yourself in a role that would put you in the spotlight this much?
You know what? I didn't think about it. I'm a real kind of live by the day and live in the moment kind of guy. You know, I just kind of, I love what I do, and I will just put everything into whatever role I'm doing. And as long as I feel like I'm doing my best, I'm happy, man. I don't care where I am. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as I'm able to make a living and be creative and work with people who I respect and who are giving their all as well, then fuck, man, that's it, man. I'm set, man. If I'm making $500 a week in a theater doing that, I'm fine, you know. So I'm happy with doing whatever as long as I feel creatively fulfilled.
What part of yourself do you bring to Enzo, and what part of him has rubbed off on you?
I think probably my, I don't know, I kind of take everything with a grain of salt, you know, and I kind of, so probably the kind of snarky, sarcastic side of me that's me, mm-hmm. You know. There's also Enzo, but I have that. But I'm actually more of a nice guy than Enzo is. Like you said, a little douchey.
I was gonna, I couldn't think of a less vulgar word for that. That's a terrible word.
I've become more douchey. No, I think what part of Enzo is rubbed off on me, yeah.
Certainly not humility, because you're obviously a very humble guy who appreciates everything he has right now.
Yeah, I do, very much so. Yeah, my best quality is humility, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm just joking. My best quality is modesty.
I like to humiliate people, and I'm very modest.
Humiliation, yeah.
This interview will cost you $70,000 to publish.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice round number.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I kind of feel like there's not a split, really. I mean, obviously I don't kill people, you know, like he does, but I feel like every character I play, I kind of, it's your job as an actor to, become that and, work with everything that you've researched and incorporate that. And sometimes it's kind of hard to see where one ends and the other begins, because we're always moving and progressing as human beings, and I think we live several lives in one, and we don't really necessarily cling on to who we were before playing a certain role and then revert back to that. I think we gain certain things from every chapter in our life, no matter what job you're doing, if you're doing whatever kind of work. And so I'm just me playing Enzo.
Did you have to get used to the adoration that's being thrown at you through being on the show? Because it's got to be quite a jolt.
Well, it was kind of nuts, man. I mean, the first, being here at the convention, it's crazy, man. The first one I did was in Rome, and just the first time I went on the stage for my first panel, just that screaming and that many people in the room. I'd heard about it, but feeling that love and being there was pretty mad, and I didn't realize it was that insane.
Yeah.
So. But that's amazing. I mean, it's because of the fans that our show is what it is today. And coming from a theater background, you get that immediate response. At the end of the show, you get a curtain call and the applause if you run it good. And here, you don't get it when you're filming. You film, cut, next. And you say, oh, that was the performance of my lifetime.
Yeah.
He appreciates me. And so, coming here and doing these kind of things, you can see the fan response and engage in that feedback loop between audience and performers. And, so I very much appreciate it.
Well, I have to say you, more than any other guest star, quote unquote, has had the most success in terms of episodes consecutively. And now to be in it. Oh, yeah. I mean, they bring people back from the dead quite often, but, your character and you as a performer is just, extremely popular. So I hope
great.
you know that.
I'm honored. That's an honor. Yeah.
Finally, what would you offer as advice to someone who wants to start out in the business and, or even if they've been in the business and they're ready to kind of kick the bucket in because their big break, quote unquote, didn't happen?
Well, this is a question that's asked a lot from many actors, and it's a really difficult question because there's no one way. It's spontaneous. It involves improvisation. I can't say you go do this and you go do that and you're going to be successful because you probably won't. What works for me is not going to work for somebody else. But the two things I could really say are, one, to have a backup plan. And I mean that in all seriousness, because you've got to be, if it can take months, it can take years to really get somewhere and get something. And if you're living in New York or London, it's so expensive. You can't afford to do that. You can't do regional free theater and work in a restaurant. You kind of need something else going on, and you also need that real passion for it because it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And the second thing is to just be yourself completely. Don't try to mold to what you think people want, what you think they want. Just do your own thing and know that the product that you're presenting is completely and fully your own. And you don't need to try hard to be something. Just bringing yourself to the table and all your flaws and everything that's what they want to see, man. They don't want to see a bunch of cocksure young talent who just like confident and rough, and not everybody wants to see that. That works for certain roles, but sometimes you want to see more of like a Jesse Eisenberg, or somebody who's a little bit more awkward and kind of, I don't know, introverted,
Just by what you're saying, has being rejected for certain roles not had as big of an effect on you because you gave your all and your best and it just wasn't, because the rejection has got to be.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough at first, man. I mean, when I first graduated from drama school, I spent nearly a year without anything, man. I barely got an agent. I was one of the last people to get an agent in my year on our last show. So I was stressing, and I was like, well, shit, man, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to America, or go to New York or something. Maybe I'm going to go back to Ohio. And what was the question again? I completely forgot.
if you, your positive outlook
Oh, yeah,
made
yeah, yeah.
rejection easier.
Yeah, so I kind of I didn't get used to that rejection, but I dealt with it a lot for that first year, and I think it's something that is never easy, but you just get used to it. It's like if anybody else who's not in the business is watching this, then it's literally like we are literally going to job interviews every day,
Right.
and people are saying, no, we don't want you. It's like going in fucking Kroger or Myers or whatever, and people be like, no, you can't. Sorry. You're running around with your application. You know what I mean? So yeah, it can be tough. But if you don't look at it like that, and you look at it as, you know what, I'm going to take your stuff on board. I'm going to create this product of what I think is suitable for this character. And I'm going to present it to you. If you don't think that's appropriate, fine. I'll take my next product and present it to the next people. And as long as you are really believing and fully investing in that product that you're making, then that's all you need to worry about. The rejection, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Well, Michael, I don't think you have to worry about it. You're on the rocket
Hey, thanks.
going up. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do
No
this
problem.
interview.
No problem. And thank you guys.
Enjoy the rest of the con.